into Inspired Afternoons only on Salam Media with me, your host Mariam Mia. And every Monday at 2, I have my special guest, Sister Sumaiya Hoosen, who is a health and wellness architect. And yes, over the past month, we've been going on a journey to become a better version, a wholesome version of ourselves with Sister under the guidance and expert guidance of Sister Sumaiya Hoosen. And today we're focusing about on love and as she coined it, love more. So let's welcome Sister Sumaiya to the program. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Inspired Afternoons once again, Sister Sumaiya Hoosen.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, Mariam, and thank you for calling me special. It makes me feel special today.
Special and specialist. So double S.
Okay.
Sister
Well,
Sumaiya.
my name starts with S, so I'll take it.
Yeah, so we're doing all the S's today. Sumaya, so today we're going to focus, September is that month of regeneration, regrowth, and also September is that month of love as well, I guess, because everything is fresh, everything is beautiful. And it's so, tell us about this part of health, being healthy is also being a better loving version of yourself. Am I correct in this?
100%. One of the pillars that we work on with the program, Mariam, is on loving more. Loving more has to do with the relationships in your life. You mentioned, I think it was 2 weeks ago, that you had a new grandchild that was born, and the automatic love that you felt for that child without having seen it or any of that. Um, and the capacity to love, it makes us feel wholer and it makes us healthier um, on so many different levels. The science behind it speaks for itself, and I'll just give you a bit of a snippet regarding it. The scientific studies show that when you have loving relationships in your life, whether that's with in a marriage, or whether that's with your children, or with your parents, or whether that's through a strong social or community network, um, it proves to be invaluable in healing times. So those, for example, that have been diagnosed with illnesses like cancer, or even things like heart attacks or strokes, when they have a strong family relationship surrounding them and strong community support, they have faster healing than those that don't have people surrounding them. This was also very brought into the spotlight now during the lockdown period, when families were not allowed to visit loved ones that were quite sick in the hospital. And you could see the detrimental effects on those patients that had to be unfortunately hospitalized during that time period. It took them longer to recover, and even once they were discharged from hospital, the negative effects still till today. I know of patients that it still lasts with them because they didn't have the social support that we normally get. It's also been shown to have a direct impact on lowering blood pressure. So patients with your cardiovascular diseases, your patients with your high blood pressure, if you have a strong level of love and happiness in your life, it's scientifically proven to show your blood pressure. It calms anxiety, it keeps the blood pressure in check. Um, and also, when you are in healthy relationships, you tend to look at yourself in a healthier way. You tend to appreciate yourself more, and you look after yourself better. It just naturally comes. You feel more valued in somebody else's life, and so you value yourself more. It's also been shown to bolster our immune systems. So think about the opposite. Think about when you are in a toxic relationship and how that constant stress has a detrimental effect on your immune system. Yeah, when you have loving relationships surrounding you, it has a positive effect. It bolsters your immune system. So we have fewer colds, fewer visits to the doctor's office are reported. Um, those that are in strong relationships tend to be more physically fit. Um, this they're not quite sure what to attribute this to, but it could be something as simple as somebody that cares for you enough or supports you sufficiently to help you on your journey towards getting fit, if that's a goal for you. Um, I'll give you an example. Like us as a family, we try to encourage one another towards fitness. We are fit as a family, but we try to encourage and bolster one another. If somebody finds something hard, we'll challenge each other and say, okay, I'll try it with you, or I'll do it. So if you have a partner with you, or somebody that's willing to go along with you, somebody that's willing to take the steps, it definitely aids in you achieving your own personal goals. Um, Even in terms of pain, Mariam, you spoke about the birth of your grandchild. Think about it. When a mother just has her baby, the minute that the baby is placed in her arms, the pain of childbirth just leaves her completely. That love and that oxytocin and that it has such an analgesic effect that it just completely obliterates any pain that you may be still experiencing even in that moment. So love and loving relationships, it generates all these hormones, the oxytocin, all these reward hormones, your serotonin, your dopamine, and this has natural analgesic effects. Um, and generally, because if you have loving relationships either within your home or within your community or both, I mean the 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 best scenario would be to have strong social and community networks surrounding you, and to have a strong family and friend network surrounding you. You have less stress. You naturally have less anxiety. You have less depression. Um, most the research, or the rather the stats say that today at least 1 in 4 women are prescribed an antidepressant. Um, at least I think it's something like 1 in 10 is diagnosed with anxiety. So you have loving relationships. It just naturally tends to give you a fresher and a more beautiful perspective on life, and it fills you up with gratitude as well. So that's just another bonus. So yeah, that's my bit on loving. So in the wholesome program, if clients have fractured relationships, or they have tension, we work on that. So we'll delve into that, and we'll delve into the triggers surrounding those, and how they can circumvent that. Those that are experiencing severe loneliness, there's many in our community, and Mariam, I'm sure you can attest to this as well, that experience severe loneliness, and not just the mental implications, but also the physical implications that that has upon them. So it becomes important to integrate them kind of at the community level, um, to make them feel worthy and give them a sense of value by allowing them to be of some service to the community. A lot of our elderly are taken for granted, but they have so much skill and so much expertise, even if they are used in the capacity of just pure mentorship. Those that are ex-teachers, even if they are doing it for no remuneration, they just appreciate the sense of being valued. Um, so there's so much that goes into love and relationship building. So that's what I do. So if I have an elderly client, and this client doesn't have solid relationships, and I'll say, okay, so what do you value in yourself? What can you think of that you can contribute? And then we find ways to try and amalgamate them into the society, into the community. Find ways to make them valued um, by the society, and then start valuing themselves as a result. Those that are maybe are going through a difficult time in their marriage, or a difficult time with their kids, or with their in-laws, or whatever it is. So we delve into that, and we unravel the thoughts surrounding it, because we can never know what somebody else is thinking. We can only control our own thoughts, and only control our own reactions.
Absolutely. So that age old adage, love conquers all, is true, because I'm listening to what you're saying, and I wrote it down, that came to mind, because you know what, when in your young days, when you were studying and you were studying literature, and that was one of the I know, if you said, if you're talking, one of the things was love, and you put love conquers all, I mean, there was a mark in it for somewhere, for something. So it's true, because you were saying whatever love helps you on your journey to good health. Like you said, when you just a simple hug of your loved one, beat your child. I mean, you can have the most difficult day and you might be in pain, body pain and that. But if your little child comes or grandchild comes, a niece or nephew comes to you, just gives you that hug and a peck on the cheek, really, like you say, all the hardship, all the physical pain just eases away and just goes away, and you feel grounded, you feel happier, you feel healthier. And I think love gives you energy. You feel energized.
100%. I mean, you've got kids. Think about when your kids were younger. When you ran around with them, when you played with them in the garden, or you built blocks with them. It filled you up. Today we're trying to fill ourselves with unhealthy things. We're filling ourselves with emotional eating. We're filling ourselves with um, Netflix binge watching. We're filling ourselves with all kinds of other things. And it's the simple things that that actually fill you and make you feel whole and make you feel healthy. And I love it that you said love conquers all, because, like I said, it's not just about the relationships with external players, but also about your own relationship with yourself. Because once you value and love yourself, you'll obviously then start, and that's the hardest part. I think it's very, for some people, it's very hard to start loving themselves again, because often we speak to ourselves very critically. We speak to ourselves very negatively. So when you love yourself, you find it more difficult to fill your body with unhealthy things. You find it more difficult to do things that are detrimental to you. When you love yourself, you naturally will take better care of yourself, because you will hold yourself in value, like how you would value your child, and how you'd raise your child, and how you'd feed your child, and what you teach your child. If you love yourself as much as you love your child, uh, you wouldn't have any problems.
Absolutely. So for me, I'm taking out from this that love and support are optimal cornerstone for good health. So basically,
100%.
uh, attaining good health is not so much you do externally, like, so it's for me all encompassing. So it is the exercise, the correct eating, the sleeping. So it's all your verbs and your activities you're going to do, but it encompasses emotions as well, especially
100%.
positive emotions, because I'm everything thus far we focus was an action. So it was all our verbs, so eating, sleeping, uh, I'm just going through it now. Your fitness is, we went along, so it was all something we needed to do. That we do, but emotions are value systems. It's felt. So I mean, you can't really conceptualize it, but it's something we feel. But equally important to complement this, the essential positive emotions are essential for a healthy lifestyle and to become a healthy
100%.
version of yourself.
I mean, people are emotional beings. Mariam, you are an emotional being. When you had news of your grandchild, you were elated. If you have news of the death of a loved one, you become sad. If you are in overwhelm, you get stressed. So we're emotional. So you can't separate the two. But I would differ in what you said, in that I believe that love is actually a verb. To a certain degree, I believe love is a verb, and it's that verb that then brings the emotion. So
Okay,
I believe that love is
I'm
a
not
verb.
arguing. I normally like to have the last say, but I take this. I will take this one here, and I will let you have this round one because I think you're right. You're right. It is a verb, and I'm going to look at it as a verb in conjunction to an emotion. And you're right. And when you were talking about our senior citizens who have so much wisdom and so much to give in terms of the expertise and it, because somehow when somebody is 65 plus, we sort of nowadays we write them off in terms of they don't have anything to contribute to society, especially because I think we have this technological arrogance to say maybe because they don't know how to use social media platforms or devices and things like that, or they're still learning, they don't have anything to offer because they don't have anything to offer in this digital age. But they offer sage advice, wisdom, and advice through trial and error, through being through life and knowing what life is about. So despite what, or in spite of what platform we might be communicating nowadays, but they have lived life and a full life, so they have expertise to give. And I was just thinking yesterday, it was about 11:30 in the evening, and I actually even wanted to write about this because my daughter was really exhausted. I could see because she's still recovering from her operation. She had a C-section, and then we've got a 3-year-old, and then we have a 2-week old, and she was exhausted. And it's amazing how when you get older, you can take things in your stride. Because if I was that one mother once upon a time, and by 11, I was like wanting to tear my hair, though I love my children, but I couldn't cope because I didn't have energy. And somehow I had a very full day yesterday. I think more full than anybody, even my daughter herself, who didn't rest. But here I was at 11:30, I was still okay. And I had the calmness and the temperament to put one to bed, and all the while rocking the other one to sleep. She had winds, or tummy was troubling and that, but I soothed her. I seen my daughter. She was sleeping. She was comfortable. And I got all three of them to bed. And I was just thinking, you know what? This is what heals somebody, is this love and family support and this quiet support. And then I was thinking of all those people are alone, in maybe children have relocated and they're not in the same locality, but there's so many people out there who can offer this type of support. And you know what? If we create a network, the elderly feel wanted, feel appreciated, and they can support somebody who's in their beginning, I think, commencing their parental journey, and who have young children. And we need to network to bring these people together, because it's true, to raise a child, it takes a village to raise a child. And somehow we left that. We all feel as young couples, we want to be independent of our parents to show that we are success. We need to show we're independent, we don't need the help. But that's not how we are wired. We human beings live in communities, and we need that support of the other generation.
100%. We put you on this earth with other people for a reason. I always say Allah didn't create us alone. He didn't create us alone in isolation in one cave. He put us here, and He gave us families. He gave us bonds of family and community and everything around it. There's a reason behind it, and there's divine wisdom behind it, and we're supposed to use it. And I love. The analogy came to me right now is that one thing that could be done is that there are those new mothers that live so far away from their parents that they're unable to go home when they have their babies. There could be those women in the community that could start something. They could start a community group that could go to these new mothers' homes daily, to assist them at different times, for whatever their needs may be. Because, like you say, it's very overwhelming as a young mother, especially the first time. So that's one way that you could do this. And you know what? They don't even look for remuneration. They just want to be valued and appreciated, and that's it. And it's not just from life experience. A lot of them have, a lot of them are educated, and I don't think that their degrees and their education and their knowledge has been outdated. Not completely. So I think they have a lot of value and a lot of expert knowledge also to teach us and our. It may not be imparted through technology, but I always say there's great weight in just the written word. It's great weight in the written word. So
That's
writing for me is just still prime.
Okay, that's something me and you we need to chat about and create the initiative where we network and we can connect people for the upliftment of society. And because the children growing up with that type of support, really, they then become more grounded, more positive contributors to society. And that's what I look. I always worry about whatever we do in terms of our legacy. Is there somebody that's going to carry on with this legacy and take it to the next level? And I find if a child is brought up within a community and feels that sense of responsibility to the community that they love, they want to worry about that community and their care and concern and take it to the next level, as they grow up to the next generation. So we need to continue this legacy, because otherwise it falls flat. And then that's how we
100%.
change dynamics of society. So there's something that myself and you, I really like to get involved is just connecting those with skills to offer, and support to offer, especially to young families and young couples, especially those that are separated from their loved ones through geographic distance and locations, or geographic challenge. Because those are different types of love, and that's why I wanted to discuss love, because love is not just that physical, passionate love,
No,
but there's,
no, no.
because when you say love, people think that that's the only dimension of love you get. But for me, love is a term of endearment, because the passionate love in that, it's for the time. But love is more than that. Love extends, and love is a term of endearment. And there's different types of love, that affection and affinity you feel for somebody. Like for me, also, your very early relationships are cemented in love. Because so may if you meet somebody from your neighborhood, who you grow up, you haven't seen them for about 15 years, or even your child friend, but the love you have there is so well cemented and deeply entrenched, that upon seeing them, this flood of warm, fuzzy memories comes there, and there's just that natural affection, and they take you back to another time, a happy time and space, and you connect, and that emotion that comes, it's so overwhelming and so warm and so positive. So it's important, through love you create these happy memories for your longevity.
100%. Love is a lifestyle. Like you say, that initial love in terms of the premarital, or the marital, that's not long lasting at all. So the wholesome lifestyle, it's like, that's why I say diets don't work. Diets will always fail you. They're designed to fail you, because they're a short term solution to a long term issue. They cannot work. But I love your thought on collaborating on how to network, especially those that are lonely in our society, and those that are in need of help. They are single mothers, they're single fathers. They need people, but they don't know who to call on, and they don't know if they are who they can trust to call on as well. There are our young teenagers who are just falling through the cracks, unfortunately, because their parents either don't know any better, or their parents are out working out of necessity, and these kids are not getting enough direction. So there's so much we can do on that, and I'd love to collaborate with you on that.
Inshallah, we're going to do that. So, Sister Sumaiya, we thank you. It's a month that we've done that. So, inshallah, next week, maybe we can just do a wrap up and a summary of our uh, getting healthy the wholesome way, of a a summary of our journey from where we commenced to now. And then we can round it off. I really, really learned a lot from the segments. And I'm sure, no doubt, all the listeners have to, in terms of getting our mindsets, and understanding that getting healthy is an all encompassing concept. So it's not just one aspect, but a sum of its total parts there. And that's why you coined the term getting healthy the wholesome way, SUM. And inshallah, we'll do a lovely summary roundup conclusion segment next week. Looking forward to that one there. And until next week, Monday, inshallah, please may you be under the mercy and the protection of the Almighty. Assalamu alaikum wa
Amen.
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam, Mariam.
We're going to go for a short break. And when we get back, it's time for hashtag kindness and compassion segment.